We intro on one of the many access tunnels that run under Apex City, and follow it down until we reach a long, condemned row of maintenance rooms. Music notes filter out of a door marked with a skull and crossbones, and a hand-scrawled sign that says, "No cops allowed." We head inside and see Overclock at a workstation. Last time we saw him, he was being torn apart by the Baroness, but he does not look any worse for wear. A few inches taller, even. Over his shoulder, we can see a screen with the blueprint for an elaborate multi-level facility of some kind. A cell phone rests nearby, plugged into charge, on which we can see a text from a contact labeled "Garbage Monster" that reads, "Possible off-grid Heron Lab, thought you'd want to know." We can see the beginnings of an address, which conveniently continues off-panel. In one corner of this lair, we can see an empty person-sized tube. There is a display on the front with diagnostic readouts scrolling across. Tick and Tock, the Clocker Spaniels, snooze together on a large heated charging pad in another corner. A work table in the center of the room holds several prosthetic arms, each of them labeled with metallic ink. The Clocker Spaniels lift their heads as Overclock walks by, his feet just in panel. We get a splash of Overclock standing in front of a glass case, and see in the reflection that there is a dull orange glow behind each eye. The reflection fades, and we can see the case is full of wristwatches. He carefully picks out a half dozen or so and slaps them on, then whistles. Tick, tock, on the clock! The dogs wag their tails happily. We are back with the finale of our PnP limited series. I'm very excited. I'm so excited.
I'm also excited.
So, last time we left PJ and Presley, they were in the assumedly control room of this facility to which they got kidnapped, and PJ has just smashed a tube with a kid inside who is missing most of his left arm, and while the kind of like red warning lights are still going off, the alarm system decided that it wanted to play Kesha's TikTok. So what I want to ask is, first off, PJ, Presley, what are you up to right now?
Do we recognize TikTok? We're 14.
I don't know.
I'm gonna leave that up to you.
We were hugging.
I'll release and try to place the song, but since my ears have only been alive for 14 years, and that song came out when I was 4, I'm gonna not recognize it.
That's fine.
It's a bold statement.
You don't have to recognize Kesha, like our greatest living musician. That's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's
alright. That's valid.
The question, though, is, how are you reacting to this turn of events? And just to kind of set scene for you, you currently have a tank that you just smashed with a chair. It is swiftly draining of fluid, and there is a kid in there.
Is he stirring?
Not yet, no. He's pretty unconscious.
Is he breathing?
Yes. Although as this fluid that he was breathing drains past his face, he does start kind of like coughing and choking a bit.
I'm gonna pat Press, and I'm gonna point to the scientist, and I'm gonna like wave at the guy also, the kid.
Okay.
Are his eyes open?
No, he is still pretty out.
Shake
okay. Well, I'm gonna put my finger up to my lips and go shh.
Okay.
Because of the scientist.
Oh, they're sleeping.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So be careful of the sleeping scientist. I'm going to shake the guy and like try to open his eyes, I guess.
Okay. So whilst you're at that, we get a couple of scenes upstairs. So those guards in like the scary looking black body armor have finally managed to corral the rest of the kids that got out of their cells back into their cells, and they realize that there's one that's empty. So we see a small dispatch of them start heading downstairs, and as the sirens change over, they definitely have a moment where they pause and start looking around, and a few more start heading upstairs. Downstairs...
Can we hear anything on, like, walkies or anything that our scientists may have had?
You know what? Sure. Why not? We get some radio chatter. What the hell is that? Somebody go check that out. Is dispatch just screwing around with us? And I think after, like, a minute or so, you hear, like, some kind of, like, startled screaming, and then...
That's terrifying. I'm gonna, like, hiss at the kid, wake up.
This is your power set. What I would like you to do, though... No, you know what? Yeah, just go ahead and unleash your powers. Roll plus freak.
8.
On a hit, you're gonna do the thing, but on a 7 to 9, you can either mark a condition, or I will tell you how this is unstable or temporary.
Can I mark afraid?
You absolutely can. So this kid coughs and sputters a few more times, and then starts, like, stirring and kind of waking up, and at first he tries to reach up and, like, touch his face with his missing left arm, and there's a moment where he, like, panics, and then he, like, startles and looks around and tries to, like, scramble away from you, like, into the corner, and you can tell that he's very, very scared and probably still just processing a lot of stuff right now.
What's wrong with you? Can't you talk?
Yeah? Who are you? What's going on here?
It doesn't matter. We have to leave.
Now.
All of us.
And he kind of looks around at the rest of the tubes, and he moves over to one Latino kid, and he, like, puts his right hand up on the tube. I think I know this guy. And he looks over at you and is like, where am I?
It doesn't matter. We gotta go.
No.
I would like you to roll to provoke someone.
I got a 9.
Okay. So on a 7 to 9, I think he's going to overreact.
No.
So you gain influence over him.
Oh, what do we describe him as?
So this is a youngish black kid. He is missing, like I said, most of his left arm at this point. And his name is Kevin. I'll give you that.
Okay.
You don't know that yet. So I think he turns around and he goes, I'm not leaving without my friends. You can either help me or you can leave me down here. I don't give a damn.
They're all your friends?
I think so. I think I know all of these people.
I think if it's between leaving this dude and, like, all this stuff happening, I think we should help him.
Alright, grab a chair.
Alright, I'm grabbing a chair.
So you're going to grab some chairs and start going to town?
Yeah,
We're gonna
just busting them out.
So I think what I want to do here is have Presley go ahead and roll to unleash your power, so roll plus freak.
Okay.
And then if you're not up, at the moment you do have one team in the pool, so in theory...
We got a good...
Yeah, I got a 10.
Okay, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, between the two of you, you start, smashing tanks. You get two of them
the two
broken.
of us, he's not helping?
He's got one arm. What's
he's
he
trying.
gonna...
He's trying. He's trying, but it's hard for him to get leverage.
He's not... What do you think he's doing? Like, just skipping bicep day?
Like again, he is definitely trying, but he is still kind of adjusting to not having the kind of, like, leverage that he should. But you managed to get two of these tubes smashed open, which means there's only two of them left that aren't open. And at that point, the overhead, like, siren system that had been playing TikTok just goes dead.
Oh boy.
Oh, Kesha's not pleased.
And all of the lights go dead.
Mm.
And you can hear upstairs the sounds of gunfire.
Oh my god.
Which had been kind of masked behind, like, the bass of the song, but you can definitely hear it now.
Oh, wow.
And some, like, spinning red emergency lights come on, but it's not very well illuminated in here anymore.
Absolutely not, dude. We're out. You guys can break your own tubes.
So I think Kevin at this point is just kind of, like, scooping up, the ones that you have freed and kind of, like, looking over at you like, are you going to get the other one? But he is ready to dip out as well, because...
Okay, Kevin's on board.
Okay, Kevin's in.
Kevin's in.
Grab a limb that's there on this kid. There's another kid we have to...
Yeah, we'll grab him up and put him on our shoulders, yes?
Which parts of the body does this person have?
Okay, so the Latino kid that Kevin is grabbing is missing the bottom of both legs, basically from about the knee down.
Cool, so you take an arm, I'll take an arm.
So that's one of them. The other one is a red-haired white girl, and she is missing basically her right arm from the shoulder down. All of these look to be, like, mid to late teenagers.
Cool.
Okay, I'm gonna yell get up.
Sure, go ahead and unleash your powers.
Freak. It doesn't really matter, but I got a 12.
Yeah, you're definitely wanting to get out of here, so you do that, and they start snapping into consciousness very, very quickly. You can hear probably 3 to 4 sets of footsteps coming down the stairs pretty rapidly, and you can hear someone say,
"Check control. Looks like they're not responding."
Should we hide?
Yes.
Can we describe the room?
Yeah, can we, look around the room to see if we can hide?
yeah, why don't you go ahead and assess the situation?
Okay, that's roll plus... Wait, we have criminal mind,
We have criminal minds.
We have criminal mind. Okay, even if we miss, we get to ask a question. I got a 9.
So on a 7 to 9, you do get to ask one question, and you will take +1 while acting on the answers. So I believe you have the assess the situation and criminal minds lists up here. What do you want to take?
What's the best way?
What's the best way in, way past?
Would we be able to use that to best way to, get into something to hide? Is that a real question?
Kind of depends on what you're looking for here, right? This is always going to be kind of an intent thing. Best way in / past, because your ultimate goal here is to not get caught, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, to get past those guys. So that could work very well there.
Okay, so in that case, that will be our criminal mind question.
So, unfortunately, the answer is probably not going to be something that you like very much, but...
What is it?
If you just kind of stand off to the side when they come in, they're going to see these kids that have escaped from their tanks, and they're probably going to try and get them first.
They're gonna get the other kids first? That's... Oh, damn.
You could legitimately use them as bait.
Oh.
Let's take 2 of them and leave 1.
Who are we leaving?
Which one? Not the boy. We have to take both the boys because Kevin obviously really cares about his friend without the legs. And that girl has legs, so she can run away, maybe.
Yeah, the other guy can't really. Yeah.
So let's grab Kevin's friend. By the way, I feel like this is appropriate. What's your name?
His name is Theodore. Is one of you just carrying him at this point? How's that working?
Yeah.
I thought we would both scoop under the shoulder like Len was describing earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, so each of you take a shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even Kevin could grab his legs, and we could really just
No, Kevin has both his legs. Kevin is fine.
No, but we're saying Kevin could grab Theodore's knees.
I gotcha. So all 3 of you are helping this.
If he's willing to assist. Help us, Kevin.
Help us, please, Kevin.
As you are kind of preparing to leave this girl as a bait, she goes, "Yeah, my name is Amber. Thanks for asking." And she kind of sidles up alongside you next to the door, which kind of makes things a little trickier. And at this point,
shove her out.
Wow.
We gotta live.
Oh, damn, dude.
Did you hear guns?
I did hear guns.
Wow. So at this point, the door does swing open, and a couple of guys swing in. These are just holding those stun batons that you had seen earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
I'm gonna shove her.
You gonna shove her
Unless
out?
someone stops me.
I'm not going to stop you. I think you're... Oh, wow. Okay, I'm not going to stop you.
I think...
Is it a defend?
No, it is definitely not.
I'm defending Kevin and Theodore. And Presley.
No, you're just shoving a girl out in front of some guards. I think that just happens.
Not gonna make you roll for that one.
No. She's been through some trauma pretty recently. She doesn't really have a whole lot of way to defend herself right now.
Wow.
Dig the knife deeper, bro.
So you just kinda...
It's the trolley problem, and I'm not sorry.
So what is the follow-up to this, I guess is the question.
What's the follow?
So you shove Amber out in front of these guards.
Oh, man.
And they definitely see her, and one of them, starts moving to kind of apprehend. You can see that there's 2 in the room and 1 kind of outside watching the door. What do you do?
Do you think we can teleport other people?
I don't know.
I think we should try to teleport and take the boys on the other side of the guard.
Okay. But we can only teleport to each other. It's okay.
No, wait, if we hold hands.
Oh, let's hold hands.
And
yes,
if we just hold them, maybe they'll come with us.
Yeah.
So just form a circle around the boys and try and teleport past that guard?
Yes.
How about you unleash your powers?
Okay. Both of us? One?
Whoever is taking the lead here.
I'll take the lead here.
Yes.
Okay. That's a 10.
You teleport past the guard on the other side. When you teleport, what does that look like on the page?
We hold hands.
Right, and I think we'll probably grab onto the boys, but I don't know if we've ever done this before.
Yeah,
with
I don't
other
know.
people.
This is kind of stretching it.
Yeah, this is new for you, but I mean, like, visually, is there like an indicator on the page, like a Nightcrawler teleport? Is there that little Banff cloud? Is there
like a snap, maybe?
I would like it if it was like a panel of us like closing our eyes really hard,
and then our eyes are open and we're somewhere else.
Yeah.
You teleported on the other side of this guard, and Kevin kind of looks at you and just like silently mouths, "What the hell?" And he's looking back in there where these guards have now grabbed Amber and are like starting to restrain her.
Does she look like she's is she using a superpower, maybe?
Nope.
Okay, well, I'm glad we didn't go with my plan. We'll come back for her, though.
Stop that.
We can't do it right now.
I can tell him to stop.
Wow, you can tell him to stop. I was going to tell him that we just can't. We'll have to do it later. We don't have time.
So I guess the question here then is PJ just going ahead with that? Is that, because it seems like you are. Who are you directing that at?
The guy's grabbing her.
Okay. I think I would like you to maybe... this one I think is probably a defend someone. So go ahead and roll plus savior.
I got a 9.
Okay. On a 7 to 9, you do the thing, but it costs you. So before it costs you, let me give you your options. You can add a team to the pool. Right now you've just got one. You can take influence over someone you protect, so in this case, Amber, or you can clear a condition. Which of those 3 things do you want to do?
I want to clear Afraid.
Okay, that said, on a 7 to 9, this is going to cost you. You will either expose yourself to danger or escalate the situation. Which of those 2 things you want to do?
If I expose myself, is it explicitly just myself?
It is explicitly expose yourself to danger.
Okay, I'll expose myself to danger.
Okay, you kind of like step forward and tell them to stop doing this, to let her go, and they do, and they turn back around and definitely see you there. The guy that you have just teleported behind sees the guards, hears you say that, and turns around to basically try and like grab you. They definitely know you're here now. So, at this point, you've been hearing like intermittent gunfire upstairs, and that has stopped now, but you do hear a set of footsteps, just one, coming down the stairwell, and you can hear kind of in time with it like clicky-clacking of like claws on metal. So what do you do?
Okay, well, my twin just exposed herself to danger.
Has no one else done anything? Has it just been us? Like, is that girl fighting them? What are Theodore and
she woke
Kevin
up
doing?
like she woke up like 2 minutes ago, and she's missing an arm now.
Doesn't have what? Oh,
She's not going to fight 2 heavily armed guys in body armor.
Okay, but what about the boys?
What are they?
Are they just standing there watching us? They're not running? Well, I guess one can.
The one can't run.
We're about to find out. All 3 of you were holding one of them.
I guess that's true. Ooh, which one of us was... Oh, we were all 3 holding him.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
That was a choice we made.
That was a choice you made. And if Kevin's helping hold him, Kevin is missing most of an arm.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, but he's only holding his legs. Is that the position we described? That's not good.
Let's just do something. So we're gonna leave.
So let's just leave.
Are you just trying to leave? You're just trying to leave. That's fine. Are you just running upstairs?
Oh, that's where the claws and metal are coming from.
So we should... Well...
Can we assess our situation?
You probably can. That might not be a bad idea, is take a minute, figure out what you want to do. So who wants to assess that situation?
Okay, I'll assess the situation. What's that? Plus superior. Okay, that's good. I'm good at that. 6.
Well, there is one team in the pool, if Presley wants to bump that up to a 7.
Yeah, alright, I'll do that.
And I'm fine with you triggering 4 eyes or better, because there's a lot going on. You 2 can easily look in different directions, get different vantage points on this. Let's start with the one question that PJ gets. What do you want to know?
Okay. I want to know the best way out. In past. I want to leave, but not touch whatever is scraping its claws down the stairwell.
Well, that one is going to be slightly tricky, because you don't really know what's up there at this point. So, in theory, you could try and teleport past it, back up to the area with the cells, because it's definitely below that right now, and just, skip that whole thing.
And we can't go any further down?
No, you are at the bottom.
Is there an elevator?
There is not. There is a stairwell.
Wow, this is not ADA accessible.
No, it is not.
I don't appreciate that.
It's almost like the secret underground facility where they kidnap children was not built with the best intentions in mind.
They're specifically kidnapping children and then giving them disabilities, and it's not accessible.
Whoa.
What a bunch of jerks.
What a bunch of jerks!
What a bunch of jerks!
If you want to avoid all that entirely, your best option is probably going to be to try to teleport. But you are going blind into a situation that you don't know what's going on up there.
With 2 other people. Let's just go up the stairs. Let's just run.
So with that, though, with 4 eyes or better, Presley, you can either clear a condition or ask an additional question. Which would you like?
Clear your conditions.
Yeah, I'm gonna clear afraid, because I feel like you taking charge would really calm me in the situation, and I'd be like, alright, all I gotta do is stick with you. So I'm gonna do that.
Okay. With that, assess the situation. The guards that were coming out have definitely had time to get to you, and one of them swipes at you with one of those shock batons, and I think they catch Kevin full on in the chest with that.
No, not Kevin!
He kind of crumples. You do still have Theodore. What do you do?
We just gotta go. We gotta keep
Can
going.
I try to yell get up at Kevin?
You can try. So are you trying to use your abilities to make him get up?
Yes.
I think what I would like you to do here is... I think this still seems like a defend someone, so go ahead and roll plus savior.
Okay. Oh no. It's a 3.
Uh-oh. Well, there is no amount of team that will happen that will save that.
That's okay, there's no more team anyway.
Yeah, we're out.
Yeah.
But I get to mark potential.
You do.
Wow, what a...
Speaking of marking potential, didn't you fill up your potential track last session?
I did. Yes.
And what did you take off of that?
I unlocked my moment of truth, because I'm worth it. I deserve it.
That's probably good to remember, because you can trigger that whenever you want. So, you yell at him, and as you do, as soon as you open your mouth, I think these guards have figured out what's been going on, since you've been doing this an awful lot, and one of them just shoves that shock baton right up under your jaw, and I'm gonna have you take a powerful blow for me.
Oh, damn. Okay. Alright. So it's roll plus... Nice. I'm glad I cleared that. That's a 7.
Okay, so on a 7 to 9, you get to choose one of those options. You can lash out verbally and provoke a teammate to foolhardy action, or take advantage of your influence to inflict a condition. You can give ground and give your opposition an opportunity, or you can just struggle past that pain and mark 2 conditions.
I'm gonna mark 2 conditions.
What you gonna mark?
I am gonna mark afraid, but also angry.
Seems legit. So Presley has just been shocked in the jaw by a baton, and PJ, at this point, if you look up the stairwell, you can see a form in kind of a long jacket with 2, looks like surprisingly small dogs just trotting on after him. And you can hear him kind of like humming a little bit as he comes down the stairs, and it is definitely a reprise of TikTok. That said, you have 3 guards, one of which just shocked the hell out of your sister's face. What do you do?
I'm gonna say let us go. Like, everyone. Like at the top of my lungs. So that the guy in the stairs hears it too.
Go ahead and directly engage a threat.
Alright. Good thing I'm not scared anymore.
Seems like you're creating an opportunity there.
Alright. I got a 7.
Okay, so on a 7 to 9, you can either resist or avoid their blows. You can take something from them. You can create an opportunity for your allies, or you can impress, surprise, or frighten the opposition. And that last one is my choice there. So what do you want to do?
I'm gonna take a stun baton.
So you yell at them. Now, the thing you did not do here is resist or avoid their blows. So you yell at them.
God, with my hands.
And basically, I think what happens, and I'll give this to you if you want, is that if you want to just have them all drop those in that moment, I'm okay with that. But either way, they shake that off pretty quickly. It's like the more you use this on them, the more they're getting kind of used to it. And one of them just grabs you and tries to push you up against a wall, so I am going to have you take a powerful blow.
3.
Nice. And you get to mark potential, too.
Yep, you do get to mark potential for that. So, on a miss, you do stand strong, so mark potential, and tell us how you weather that blow.
I'm gonna knee him in the balls.
Okay.
God, they're so metal!
Nice. So as he tries to grab you, you knee him in the balls, and he backs off. And at that point, up on the landing that kind of leads directly down to this, you see a kind of a strange guy. He's maybe like 5'3", 5'4", so he's not very tall. Long black jacket, boots, watches all over his left arm, and kind of like stenciled on the arm, you can see the phrase "Leet Beats," and it's spelled 133TB34TZ. And there are two dogs, one of which has 450 in its left eye, the other one has 054 in its right eye. And he's got his hands in his pockets at the moment. He's watching this whole exchange. He kind of clears his throat.
How old is he, apparently?
You would guess maybe 15, 16. And he kind of looks at what's going on here, and he goes, You kids need some help? You look like you're a little outnumbered there.
Kids? How old are you?
Older than you.
I would like help. Yes, please help us.
And he kind of nods at you and looks at the dogs, and he goes, "Tick tock, you guys are on the clock. You know how the song goes. Go on." And the dogs lift up off the ground. Their legs retract, and you can hear the whirring of rockets. And within a couple of seconds, they have rocketed forward and just knocked the wind out of these guards.
Nice.
And then their legs, extend again, and they sit down and kind of like happy wag their tails at you.
Do they look like they have guns on them?
No.
They're just cute.
They look like Cocker Spaniels.
Just normal Cocker Spaniels.
Just normal Cocker Spaniels.
Wait, instead of rockets, can their ears spin?
No, they have rocket legs.
What about...
This has been established.
Oh, dang.
Like, hyper-realistic Cocker Spaniels?
What do you mean?
Like, they are, like...
Within the comic, they're drawn hyper-realistic.
You know what? For that one panel, yes.
Thank you. Okay, well that's great.
Yeah, great, thanks.
So Overclock kind of like walks down the stairs and throws a dog biscuit to each of them, and then looks over at you and goes, Okay, look, I'm in kind of a hurry here. Who are you? Why are you here? Who do you work for? You don't work for anybody, you're dumb kids. Who are you?
I am Presley, and this is my sister, Paisley, and that's Kevin, and that's Kevin's friend over there.
And he kind of looks at Kevin and Theodore, and you can see for a moment that he's looking at the various limbs that they're missing, and then he kind of nods at you. All right, so here's the deal. There's a pretty clear path if you just go straight up these stairs here. I don't assume you want to be here right now.
Yeah, that would be correct. We're trying to leave. Thank you.
Yeah, well, straight up, and in, I would bet, probably 10 to 15 minutes the cops are going to show up. It would just be real nice of you not to narc me out to them.
You got a deal.
These guys like mall kids. You might want to come with us.
Yeah, I'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Whatever, dude.
We won't narc on you, dude.
That's all I ask. Just, I was never here. You did all this yourself. Cool? Cool. And with that, he kind of heads into the control room, and Amber runs out past him. The dogs kind of file in behind him. So what do you do?
I feel like we should just go.
Yeah, I think we should just get out of here.
Sure. On your way up the stairs, we get a couple of panels. Are you stopping to check on anything at all, or...?
Yeah, we need to go see if those kids are out of their cages. Since it doesn't sound like anything else is happening, right?
Yeah, so far it's quiet upstairs.
Okay, so we'll swing by the cages? Children cages? Cages for children?
Yeah. They are largely empty and open.
Nice. I assume.
You do see a lot of those, like black armored guards, just unconscious. You would assume, hopefully, just unconscious and slumped against various walls.
Oh, can I spit on one again?
You sure can.
Yeah. This is like the first time we've probably ever seen a dead body.
But it's not necessarily a dead body.
We're just gonna leave that vague as to whether they're alive or not.
Unconscious grown up.
We're
That's
unsure. I spit on him.
You go for it.
Thanks.
Now that said, are you checking anything besides the kind of like detainment area?
No.
Yeah, I'm kind of cool to go.
Yeah, just get out of there, I guess.
Cool. So what you come up out of is eventually you get to the top of this, and you come back up into that warehouse that you got abducted from. It looks like part of the floor just moves out of the way to kind of expose this underground facility. And upstairs, you see almost all of the kids that were in these holding cells downstairs, and you can see like flashing police sirens. that are starting to surround this building. There are a few notable people that are missing. First off, Todd Roman is not here.
Dang it!
Just gone. Secondly, there are 3 Ionas.
Are they all wearing the same thing?
Yes, they are wearing the same clothes. They are all kind of staring at each other distrustfully.
Are they all wearing the same thing that we saw them in earlier?
Yes.
I don't know about that. I just mean I don't know if I appreciate that. That's a lot.
As you come up, one of them does kind of like look over at you and then like nudges the other 2, and they kind of look over at you, and then they go back to like talking amongst themselves. PJ, Presley, the police are showing up outside. There's a bunch of kids here. What are you doing?
On the scram.
She has sisters?
I'm gonna tell him to get out of here, I guess.
The kids?
Yeah, why not?
No, I would like the police involved.
You want the police involved?
We were kidnapped.
You want to talk to the police here?
No, I don't want to talk to the police, but they need to.
Okay, alright, so we don't get out of here. So we stay,
Oh, what time is it?
You can see that through the window of this warehouse, you can just see the sun starting to come up. So it's at least the morning after, if not longer. And I want to kind of wrap things up a little bit because we don't need to go over the, verbatim everything that happens. So here's a few things you find out. It's actually been closer to a week.
Oh my god.
No one has noticed you're missing.
Oh my
Nobody?
god.
Because you're not missing.
Oh my god.
You don't ever meet these doubles that you have, but the entire time you were gone, you were attending school, you were at home, you were doing your chores.
Wow.
None of our siblings were like, hey, that's weird.
Well, they wouldn't have known.
Yeah, as far as they know.
Well, I just didn't, was there any discernible personality difference maybe?
Nope.
How terrifying.
Yeah, hate that.
Are you keeping in touch with the other kids that were down there with you?
I mean, we still obviously watch Todd Roman online.
Yeah.
Todd does not show up back online. Todd's actually, as far as anyone can tell, actively missing.
No, not Todd. Okay. Well, here's what I think. I feel like I would not give anyone my phone number, but I feel like I would be sticking around, and if someone was like, here you go, here's my phone number.
We don't have phones anymore.
They took them?
They did.
Okay,
And
so
we
how
didn't look for them.
Yeah, like your
Okay.
phones, your car keys, your identification, all the stuff they would need to impersonate you,
We're
that stuff.
14!
Yeah, what do we have? A library card?
Maybe.
Okay.
School ID?
So, what do you think? I think at least Kevin we should stay in contact with.
I think that I have Yona's number in my phone.
Valid.
Which is gone.
Right. No,
Oh, gosh.
You memorized it. Come on. She's that bitch.
That's fair. That's fair.
Wow. Can't stop me 2019.
Very quickly after this incident happens, Kopi gets involved because this is definitely some, weird super science at the bare minimum. And you do get interviewed by a very large, muscular woman named Olivia Larange. And she is very kind. She is very, very willing to let you talk. So question is there anything that you keep from her, or are you telling her everything, or kind of like, what are you letting her in on?
I have a question for you.
Okay.
How do we know we're not the clones?
That is an excellent question.
Oh,
Great.
I like that.
I feel like I would tell her everything. I would be like, okay, you're an adult, and this is some crazy shit that happened. So,
What about the clockter?
And the clockter. Oh no, I wouldn't tell her about that. I made a deal. I'm not gonna narc on him.
Okay, so you're not going to narc on Overclock, I guess is...
I'm just gonna be like, he gave me one of these burns, so I clocked him a bunch with my fists.
I clocked him.
With my fists.
Okay. And sort of the last little bit of wrap up that I want to do with this is a couple of weeks after this whole incident, Iona and Iona's doubles, who were all sort of taken in after this, did not show back up to school afterwards. And a couple of weeks down the line, in the middle of the night, you once again are awakened by a pebble kind of being thrown against your window. What do you do?
I checked it last time. It's your turn to check it.
Masks: A New Generation is written for Magpie Games by Brendan Conway. It is made of high school crushes, twins, and abandoned warehouses. Why have you not bought it already? PJ is played by Emily. Find her on Twitter at BuzziesB, that is BUZSYBEE. Presley is played by Lenny. Find her on Twitter at 1-800-TODD. Apex City is GM'd by Jeremy, who also writes the music and edits this podcast. Our album art was provided by Ash Brandt. Find them on Twitter at Cinder_Brandt, on Instagram at Brandt.ash, and on Tumblr at Kimmons. Find us on Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, or wherever fine podcasts are sold. Follow us on Twitter at Apex City Cast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next issue.